All right. So we're using the Zoom item to record this one instead of the GoPro. Maybe this will make things quicker for me. Maybe save you some time. This evening, I got Adventure Dog sitting here bugging the shit out of me because she knows I have a chicken foot. That's her tail hitting the wall. It's like a sledgehammer. You want the chicken? You want the chicken foot? All right. One more. Sit down. Sit. Good girl. There you go. There you go. Be gone with you. All right, here we go. Hope this camera's clear. It didn't seem to be too clear with my meeting with David Nino Rodriguez today, but it worked. Not that it's about looking at somebody's face anyway, right? Now, where to start? Melba's conversation and I think a lot of people are watching that video. I hope they are. If it's truth you want, it's definitely one of the videos to listen to, I'll tell you what. To become a member, just to watch that one video. A lot of people are messaging saying they can't figure it out. Here's the deal. So, YouTube is owned by Google, who has Android phones. Everything's made up for Android, right? So, unless you're on your laptop or your home computer, the home computer, the laptop will bring up the join button to do the membership thing on the channel. With all the proceeds go to securing more knowledge for us, the people. I already talked about that. So, but I did post a video in our community page somebody made to show how you can get onto the Google menu with your iPhone to pull up the join channel membership button. Okay, there you go. What else on that topic? That's about it for that end. It would be fun in a way to discuss some of the items that were spoke about on during the conversation with Melba and I. There's going to be a lot more to come. Hold on a minute. We got a cat that needs help. Just had a little bit of pause there. I think this is recording again, isn't it? It's the first time using the Zoom to do this, so it's working. Anyway, there's a lot discussed with Melba and I. Melba also shared that she has never shared as much information ever before publicly as during that conversation between the two of us. It's very interesting. It confirmed a lot for me. Like I spoke with Nino today, we were talking about it. And I do believe as you search for your truth and find out the answers to what are considered mysteries to mainstream humans, to our current communities, I'm pretty certain if you go all the way, it's going to get scary. I have a feeling it's going to get a little scary if you go the full distance, meaning whatever door opens up, you go in it and figure it out and find out what's going on. It all leads to something else, but it does lead to one place. I'm becoming convinced, and it's going to be a little alarming, right? It's going to be. I think everything's a little alarming to me, anyways. It's interesting. It's alarming, but if going the full distance helps to secure a fair chance for everyone to have a very fulfilled, happy existence without being taken advantage of, controlled, lied to, manipulated, and having your potential stripped from you before you even get to reach it. Potential meaning learning, exploring a level of happiness and healthiness, I believe, is all being intentionally taken from us as a whole. This topic, and I haven't skipped a beat. Like I said in the beginning, this topic is one of the easiest ones to deliver to the people to prove that we are missing out on a shit pile of knowledge intentionally. Without a doubt. That is a without a doubter. Now, anyways, man, you get some voices heard now. Got a big day tomorrow. And I have about 5 days left. I got one deer tag left, and I got about 5 days left, maybe 6 to fill it. And I think I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go to some of my favorite places in the world and see if I can't pull it off in the snow on the coast here. We'll see. So, who do we got? What do we got? Titled as read. Now, dear Steve, you are the best at what you do and how you do it. That's arguable. Thank you for the kind words. Please never change your style and delivery. I deeply thank you for your channel. Personal for you only. Message at the bottom for housekeeping. So questions further on until the end. I hope it helps. All right. I'll do my best to keep this email focused and on point, but it could get long. I've never told this story before, not even to my two best friends or my closest family members. My experience happened in 2002, early summer in the Mississippi River Valley in the state of Illinois. I was a government employee at the time, so I'll keep the place and specifics vague for the sake of people that have to live around these things. Money Taker and his Bigfoot Tourism Club can kiss my ass. And mine too. I was 2 months into the job and fully enjoying being the new guy in a new part of the country I'd never seen before. On that day, my job was to be a biological survey. Was to do a biological survey on a dry riverbed. It was my first time to this job site, which was a boat ramp used to access the area when water was present. I parked my government work truck with the nose towards the riverbed and the boat ramp to my left. I got out of the truck, took several steps ahead to look over the area and make a plan on how to start my survey. After about a minute, I suddenly was hit with a sense of immediate danger. The danger that smacked into me was tangible. It was physical. I could feel the sensation smack into my left shoulder and slide across the skin of my chest from left to right, like being shat. It was physical. I could feel the sensation smack into my left shoulder and slide across the skin of my chest from left to right like being shot with a jet of water from a fire hose. Let's call the strength of this jet 70%. All the danger felt like it was coming from knee level or lower. And I backpedaled in unexplained sudden panic. I kept my knees bent and my arms forward because I was sure I was being charged by a vicious stray dog that I'd never seen or heard. Once safely back in the truck cab, I looked all around for the dog that I was sure had to be there, and I saw nothing. After about 3 minutes confusion and adrenaline burn off, I had no explanation for what had just happened. I laughed at myself for being silly, and I tell myself I have a job to do, so get out and go do it. I get out a second time and I step forward to my original standing spot to decide how I'm going to start the survey. I again get hit with this fire hose of danger jet. Let's call it 80% strength. This time, it's from my toes to the top of my head, and I do the same, running fast, back pedal, and get back into the truck cab. Both times the feeling disappeared the instant the truck door slammed shut. That's interesting. This is all interesting. So now I'm really spooked, hands trembling on the steering wheel, asking myself if I'm having a heart attack or an allergic reaction, asking myself, why is this happening and what is happening? I sit there for 7 or 8 minutes trying to recompose myself and think. I punch the dash in frustration and tell myself to get your ass out there and do your job. I was the new guy and did not want to be seen as unreliable. Oh man, that's some shitty timing. For being a new guy and having a new job and then having this shitty experience go down, this is really shitty. I get out of the truck a third time and step forward to my original standing spot. Now, everything that follows is happening in a split-second sequence, and it'll take longer to explain than it did to experience. The moment my foot stepped onto my original standing spot, I get hit with a 100% blast of the fire hose of danger. I mean absolute primitive fear and danger, like standing on a high-tension bridge that is collapsing with you on it, or standing in front of an avalanche of snow in the last 4 seconds before it hits you. My legs were running before my mind knew I was running. Now, we all have an internal voice, and it is our tone of voice we speak out loud with. We use it every day to make our grocery list and ask ourselves if we just locked our keys in the house. As I spun around and ran for the truck cab, I was saying in panic to myself, in that internal voice, cuss word, get in the damn truck, cuss word, cuss word. By my second or third step, I see something in my peripheral vision to my right. It was just past my 3 o'clock and about 20 feet away. 2 pickup lengths. I'm sure my eyes were bugged out, so I may have been able to see it at my 4 o'clock. Haha. There's an unnatural brown color like a Crayola crayon. It was a pear-shaped blob, 5.5 foot tall, the shape and size of a squatting heavyweight sumo wrestler. All I saw was a brown blob, but it clearly stood out from the gray and tan shades of brown and the surrounding nature. It also had a presence I could feel, a presence as strong and powerful as a short-tempered rodeo bull. In that split second, I clearly hear myself saying in my head, "Don't look at it. Get to the effing door handle." The split second I grab the door handle, I hear my internal voice again, but this time I am not the one using it. I clearly hear it say, in the same voice that I make my grocery list with, "Leave now, leave this place." It was stern, commanding, and calm, with none of the panic cuss words that were flooding through my mind a moment before. Exactly like a calmly pissed school principal having a bad... What? Exactly like a calmly pissed school principal having a bad boy. The next split second, I'm in the cab, twisting the ignition key and fumbling at the gear shift. It's now once again my internal voice being used by me in panic saying, cuss word, don't look at any of the 3 rearview mirrors. Don't look behind. Back up and haul ass, cuss word. After a mile, I calmed down enough to safely drive home and call it a day. Haha, not quite. But the experience was over. The experience was a complicated series of my panicked cuss words being interrupted by 6 stern, commanding, and calm words that were 4 times louder than my internal voice, like listening to a recording of my voice. Then, back to my words of panic and cussing. Something else said those calm 6 words, but it all happened in my internal voice. To the members of the Round Table of Knowledge who have genuinely heard mine speak, non-experiencers, please don't muddy the waters. Are you actually hearing a tone and pitch of a stranger's voice? Like standing in a room with a stranger and hearing their voice for the first time? Do you clearly hear male/female, or is it an impression you form an opinion on? Or was your experience like mine with your own internal voice being used by someone else? If I'm ever asked if I've seen Sasquatch, if I'm ever asked if I've seen Sasquatch, my answer is no. But my next sentence is, because I was too scared to turn around. Thanks to you for all you do. You and Sarah are my prayers every week. My God is an awesome God. His Son is Jesus Christ, and he stands at my right hand and steadies me. Sincerely, CB, the end. Okay, CB, there's a personal message for me. I'll read that right now. Pause for a second. Okay, man, I got you. Appreciate the kind words and the note at the end. I'm definitely in the same dugout. Okay, man? Appreciate that email. You are resonating with a lot of people here without a doubt. Without a doubt, you're resonating. There's a lot of people resonating with you. Either way, whichever you want, however you want to deliver that. And I guess I'm probably, the sounds of it, I'm going to possibly be becoming a member of that club as well. soon enough in the near future, right? I'm not. At first, I was pretty nervous about the thoughts of offering up my ass to go experience this mind speak thing, possibly being directly introduced at a distance to some of these people that are a long ways away from a lot of the beings or people that I know are around here, up here in British Columbia. But I mean, what am I going to do, you guys? Right? I mean, I'm here basically the ringleader for this channel and what we're trying to do, which is to iron through the bullshit and find out the truth. And I feel we've definitely come leaps and bounds in this short amount of time compared to a lot of the usual names that have kept everybody going in circles, right? Charging for expeditions, charging for memberships to websites, charging. And there's a whole bunch, there's been a small handful of sour pusses that went to knee-jerk reaction sniveling when we went to make a 3-hour compilation of Dr. Melba Ketchum sharing so much. And using that opportunity to generate revenue from all the kind, generous people who appreciate what her and her colleagues have gone through, what they've lost because of their honesty and their need to drive forward and bring truth to all of you. Yeah, you're damn straight. I'm gonna try to make some money for them. And unfortunately, there's a handful of people who are sniveling about that, but oh, whatever. I'm babbling. I'm really tired. It's in the evening. I even lost what I was gonna say. Anyway, here we go. All right, here we go. Who is next? What was I going to say? Me about going down. All right. So yeah, I rely on myself to guide myself through life, and I've been hesitant leading up to this point in my quest for knowledge. I've been hesitant to even entertain the thought of directly being communicated with by some of these unknown beings, unknown people, but somebody's got to do it, right? Somebody's got to do it. And I'd like to think that the majority of the millions of people that view this channel know by now I'm not making shit up. So I'd like to hope that whatever I end up experiencing, and I will share with everybody here every second of it, that you will all have the confidence in me that I'm delivering you the honest to God truth with the F's going down when it goes down with me included. So, yeah, I'm going to, what's it called? It might even be possibly called, I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't have any alarming feeling in my gut talking to me inside in a negative way. I do not feel any anxiety, hesitation at this stage. I anticipate there to be some, just like Melba, when she explained her first time, she said she was terrified. You know, she said she was open to it, not even quite convinced yet on the existence of these people. And then she went. She took the invitation and she went. And she said that when she did that final walk out to the edge of the timber with her guide, she said she was trembling. She was absolutely struck with terror from one end to the other, right through her. And she wanted to run. She said she wanted to run and bolt for safety. But she went. But she did say that the closer she got to that forest, the calmer the feeling got for her. To the point that by the time she got to the edge of the timber where the guide and her stopped, she said she felt absolutely great. So if that happens to me. But I am very interested in hearing all these mind speak experiences from all of you, nonstop, and everything else at the same time. Before me being the sacrificial lamb, right? I'm babbling. I know I'm pretty tired. Story/Northwoods is the title of this email. First, just want to say thank you for providing this opportunity for others to share their experiences they are having. I believe this is very helpful for others that have had experiences. My experience happened in February of 2013 in the upper part of WI in Vilas County. smack dab between Nicollet National Forest and the Ottawa National Forest at our cabin, which has been in our family for over 50 years. It was late at night, 1 to 2 a.m. in the morning. We had gone up for our normal snowmobiling trip. My father and nephew came up this weekend. I'd woken up and needed to use the bathroom and noticed the light was on and the door was shut, thinking either my dad or nephew were using the bathroom. So I sat patiently on the side of the bed, waiting for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm wide awake at this time. I decided to get dressed up quick, go outside and take a leak. We had our lights on the northwest corner of the cabin, and I exited out of the garage door that was just under those lights. I opened up the door to walk out, and the second I opened the door, I knew right away something was not right. As I opened the door, I could hear at least 5 or 6 dogs barking frantically. 3 dogs directly west of the cabin and 3 dogs north and east of our place. We are located at a dead-end road. In the winter, we have only a handful of residents that live in our area year-round. Your pivotal encounter story is very similar to what happened next, except it was pitch black dark beyond the lights. So I had to go take a leak, really bad, and at the time, and I walked northwest of our place about 20 yards from the cabin. The barking continued and intensified over the short time that I had opened the door. As I'm going to the bathroom, right directly 50 to 80 yards, I would say, northwest, comes this big whack. Solid wood on wood. Everything in my body felt this. It was a tingling, ears ringing sensation. High alertness, feeling like I have never felt before. I waited for about 1 to 2 minutes, which felt like an hour. Curious in one thought, but the heightened alertness took over, and I cautiously walked backwards toward the cabin, opened the door, and went inside. The dogs never stopped barking during this whole time I was outside. In all the years being up at our place, never has anything like this happened to me with the dogs, and that whack had mass behind it. A year prior to this, west of our place, there were documented footprints across a field. Makes you think. Thank you for all you do. Still would rather not use my name at this time due to the scrutiny and those that I have trusted and the teasing, etc. No problem, man. I get it. You're not alone, man. You're not alone. Appreciate you sending that in. Obviously, it's not what some people who are seeking entertainment might consider as, oh, that wasn't too exciting. Thank God we're not here for them or entertainment at all. But when people have these experiences, it is something else, right? What else could make you retain that feeling, keep you concerned at all times since that episode, and then need to write it in and share it with all people here, right? Is something else. Another one. This is titled, appreciate you sending that in, man. I appreciate you saying that in big time. And I can relate to everything you said and experienced. More footprints, 2020. The 12 inches is my wife's foot in her boot beside the footprint. You can see the toes and where the ball of the foot reached the earth. Wished I'd had a ruler. But we followed these for 15 minutes and in the snow. And the snow had these covered up by the time we walked back. Fun. All right, well, look pretty clear right there. Obviously, the sun might have been shining with that bright light. But anyway, whatever. I guess I started snowing. So, I think we may have read this before. If so, who gives a shit? There's thousands of people come here. I can see the screen, so I see that is working. More print photos. There's no shortage of them. There's the print on its own. See that? So you can see the impact really squirted the snow out when it slammed to the ground, right? Compared to the human print, not really splashing much up underneath it. Indicates a lot of weight, possibly, right? There you go. Share it. Appreciate you sending that in, man. Appreciate you sending it in. And just because I don't get excited for photographs doesn't mean don't send them in. It's not about me. I don't expect anybody to feel about anything the same way I do, except for respect. That's about it. My encounter so far is title of this email. Hello, my name is Morgan Short. I'd start by saying you have my permission to use my name. It's my hope that by sharing my stories, more people will find the courage to come forward and more light can be shed on the topic. Bingo, and thank you so much, you brave, free man. My family's had a ranch 45 minutes southwest of a small town called Burns Lake, BC, Canada. I know where that is. A lot of people in my community have had experiences and don't talk about it, but some people have come forward and told me their stories. One stories happened a couple of years ago. Me and my friend were out on the ranch at a spot where our cattle range, a couple typos, no big deal, where our cattle range, but also where we always have a problem with wolves. Who doesn't with cattle? On this day, as we entered the area, we found one wolf and were able to put it down moments later. I could hear the cattle going completely apeshit. So we drove to the other end of the field and got out of the truck and started walking towards a trail that went up into a new growth of pine trees. We were about 100 yards from the beginning of the trail. A buddy was about 50 feet in front of me with the rifle, and to my right, around 100 feet away, was thick tree that pushed out from the woods when all of a sudden I feel something fly by my head, and not even a second later, a loud thump. Spinning around and swearing like crazy. There was a rock, almost a half a foot wide at its smallest point. We both looked at each other and got the hell out of there. All I can say is, as a kid, I would go out by myself in the woods outside my childhood home without a care in the world. But as the years went by, I will not go in the woods often on my own, afraid that I'm going to run into a Sasquatch alone. I've seen them around my home and know the amount of vocalizations I've heard that are at least 6 at that time on my family's property. Excuse me, I'll read that one more time. I've seen them around my home and know by the amount of vocalizations I have heard that there are at least 6 at a time on my family's property. I spent my whole life in those woods playing and hunting and know the sound of every known animal in those woods, and trust me when I say that what I have heard some nights could not be anything but one of these beings. The story I've shared so far is one of maybe 10 or so that I personally had within the last 10 years. Excuse me, you guys. The one that scared me the most was when I was little, around 14 years old. In front of my house, there's a small patch of trees that separates my home from my aunt's place. And me and a few friends and some of my cousins were chasing each other at night, as we have done many times before. I decided to hide in a patch of trees when I heard a loud guttural noise and turned to look at the direction it came from. And in between me and my home, about 10 feet from me, I see this shape silhouetted by the house lights that were on. I could clearly see the outlines of a massive head, chest, and 2 long arms, and see every single finger. If I had to guess, the bastard was probably 8 or 9 feet tall. We stood there staring at each other for about 10 minutes. Well, that's what it felt like anyway, before my cousins and friends started calling out my name, saying that they were done playing, and started heading in my direction looking for me. The thing turned his head, looked at the direction the voices are coming from, looked back at me, and then sped off without hardly making a sound in the opposite direction from where the group is coming from. I stood there until the group found me, and according to my friends, I looked white as hell, which is funny because I'm half Asian and half tan skin. When I got back inside my house, I went straight to my room and covered myself for the lights, covered myself, probably meant left the lights on, hoping that this is just one bad dream at the time. I already knew of these things and had seen them before, but never that close. This is the first time I'm sharing a story, and we felt right to share it now. Thank you for everything you do, for getting the word out the proper way. I've been contacted by the BF gang or some organization like it. I wasn't sure at the time, and all they did was nod their heads and said, "Sure, I don't think you saw what you think you saw." Again, thank you for all that you do. And again, I would like to say that you have my permission to use my name. I'm not afraid of people knowing who I am and what I've seen for years now. Morgan Short. Morgan, you're a brave, free, honest, kick-ass dude. And you know anybody around your community that may have a little bit of bullshit to say about you or anybody else, send them this video. Send them this video and tell them to put it up their pipe. You found your people, man. The cat's out of the bag, everyone. The cat's out of the bag. We know. We know a lot. But we know the cat's out of the bag. Here's another one. A bunch of these are older. I went and dug in the inbox again to try to salvage some of those 2,500 emails I've lost. Didn't lose them, but every one of us marked as read, and I haven't read them all. I think that was an older one too. This is titled My First Encounter. By the way, I'm doing a little burping and stuff because we just had an unbelievable dinner with the canned venison. Oh my God. Side note, she baked up some potatoes, scooped out all the guts out of the potatoes, mixed in the meat, the canned venison with the baked potato and some corn, something else, stuffed it back in the baked potato halves, sprinkle a little cheese on there, slam them in the oven, throw them on the plates. We put a bunch of sour cream on them. And oh my God, holy shit, is that good. Whoa. So I've got a couple burps and the shit on the go right now. No big deal. I'm really feeling nap-y. I got a big day tomorrow morning. Start tomorrow morning. Hello, Steve. This story isn't as spectacular as many you read, but this is my first encounter, and it highlights how sometimes we can block the truth from ourselves when we can't process the reality of something. There's no rating of stories in this channel, ever. N.A. Not applicable. This took place back in the early 90s. My buddy would work until 9 to 10 p.m. on a Friday and get home and pack his fly fishing gear and essentials and rack for 4 to 5 hours. He would then drive an hour to my place, and we'd load all the camping gear into his truck and take off before first light. This particular trip took 3 hours to get to the west branch of the it's a big, long native name, Cinnamahoning River. Cinnamahoning River in Pennsylvania. We got there early, set up camp, grabbed a brew and a sandwich, and fished until dark. We got back, made quick dinner, and turned in because of the long day. Around 1:30 and 1:32 in the morning, I woke up and listened to my friend snoring. It was a full moonlit night, and I could see moonlight through the hemlock canopy as I tried to decide how badly I had to go. I decided to get up when I heard something very heavy approaching the tent. I thought, great, a freaking bear. It came within 4 to 5 feet of the tent, and I could see a partial shadow silhouetted against the tent. His breath was deep, guttural grunt, and it just stood there for almost a minute. I almost shit myself thinking it was going to attack the tent, so I quietly unzipped the sleeping bag while trying to will the boogeyman away, and as if by magic, it left. Heavy footfalls trailing off into the night. I decided I didn't have to go, after all, and was starting to drift off asleep when I realized it walked away on 2 legs. I instantly knew what it was and lay awake processing everything. I finally fell back to sleep after convincing myself it wouldn't return. In the morning, I was careful not to mention anything to my buddy as I inspected the campsite for footprints. Nothing. Zip. Nada. The hard-packed earth and surrounding stones prevented any footprints. The weird thing is, I kind of blocked out this event for years before acknowledging it to my buddy after he saw a Bigfoot in Lycoming County. Lycoming County. Lycoming County. Why I buried that event in my memory beats the hell out of me. Fear of ridicule? I don't know. But I can't help but wonder how many other folks have done the same. Appreciate what you're doing. Use my name if you want. I couldn't care less what anybody thinks. Lawrence Heiner, or Heiner, Chardon, Ohio, Chardon, Ohio. Thank you, my brother. My brave, honest, fearless brother. Appreciate you coming forward, man. That's a real common one. You know how many people we've had have had these beings walk up to their tent? Lots. A shit pile, unfortunately, right? Because we all use tents. I like sleeping in a tent. But I don't need that shit going down. Let's keep it going. I'm on a roll of not repeating, I think. All right. Oregon Bigfoot Stories, tell us email. Hi, Steve. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I'm a logger from Western Oregon, 26 years old now, been in the woods since the day I was born, hunting, fishing, mushroom hunting, and everything in between. I think I read this, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to read it again. It's not that long. Been logging since practically the day I got out of high school as well. To be short, I know the woods and everything out there. Now, I've always wanted to be a believer, and I wouldn't call this a sighting by any means, but it was enough for me. One day mid-fall, I decided to walk down into a remote draw to look for chanterelles, hedgehogs, and maybe a shed horn or two. Chanterelles are an edible mushroom. About half a mile in, I was at the bottom of the draw, keeping my eyes on the ground for mushrooms, of course. There's a big swampy spring in the bottom, and out of the corner of my eye, I noticed 3 tracks in the mud. As I walked over to check them out, I noticed they were huge. Human tracks. That's the dog snoring. I think she's having a dream. Sorry. I know what a bear stepping in his own tracks look like, but this is no bear. These were huge. To put it in perspective, I wear a size 14 wide shoe, and they dwarfed my Romeos by at least 4 inches. And they were fresh. Fresh enough the moss was still pressed down and not full of water yet. Needless to say, every hair on my body stood straight up and automatically started to feel like something was right there watching me. I wish I still had the pictures. But I had them on a phone, and I end up losing that phone at work. So no pictures anymore. But I can't say I've never felt so uneasy. And nothing in the woods really makes me uneasy. I couldn't tell you how long it took me to get out of that draw, but it felt like forever. Almost like I walked backwards with my 9mm pistol out all the way up the draw, so whatever it was wouldn't come up behind me. One of the craziest experiences of my life, and won't soon forget the feeling. I wish now I would have seen the thing, but the tracks right in front of my own face in the mud, in the middle of nowhere, in the bottom of a deep, dark timber hole was enough for me. Anyway, if you get around to this one, and feel it's worthy, go ahead and share. Thanks, Steve Matt Clark. I didn't read that one before, but it's real similar to another one from a logger in the past. There you go. Another member of the club, right? That's a one hell of a big-ass club we got in to go here. It's funny. Another guy I've known for a long time, coincidentally lost touch of, coincidentally bumped into each other. We live in the same town again. He's got 3 little kids now, and he's been logging for years, ever since working for me and hunting with me a bunch when he was a teenager. And he told me recently, him and another logger, they were, where were they? Nootka Island, West Coast Vancouver Island. And they saw fresh, huge tracks going through the snow downhill into a big patch of timber. And I think he said he wanted to go He was thinking about going down and tracking after it, and his buddy just wanted to get the hell out of there, period. Get me out of here. There you go. A lot of loggers see stuff. A lot of loggers see stuff, and a lot of loggers don't say anything. But a lot more loggers are starting to say shit now, aren't they? It's the cat's out of the bag. It's not a joke anymore. There's nothing remotely funny about this topic at all. Nothing. Just tell my story. This is older one. A few years old, 4 years ago. Hi, Steve. I enjoy watching your videos, and I thought I'd add another story for your collection. You can decide if it's Bigfoot related or not. You already emailed us, so we know what it was. Back in '62, when I was a mere 14, we had a cabin in the northern part of Michigan's Lower Peninsula. It was in the forest on the side of, here we go again, Ocqueoc Lake. Ocqueoc. Ocqueoc Lake. I think I nailed it. That's how the lake was, with the exception of our 1 acre, all state forest for miles. I heard of Bigfoot back then, since I recall reading about the creature in one of my father's men's magazines. Maybe it was Argosy or Sega. In the last few years, I've had a large rock thrown at me in the Uwharrie National Forest of North Carolina. Uwharrie? It's funny, I would have thought that was Australian by that name. And while staying in a cabin near Index, Washington, heard a loud huffing sound followed by a moaning howl unlike anything I'd ever heard before. Anyway, my brother and a friend or a cousin would spend our summers in that cabin, having the time of our young lives, hunting, fishing, and blowing things up. We had a lot of black powder. One day, my brother and a friend headed for the nearest town, Onaway, to get supplies. For some reason I don't recall, I stayed behind by myself. Our father thought nothing of dropping us kids off at the cabin and didn't mind if we drove around without a driver's license. So there I was in the cabin by myself, and it got steadily darker outside. I don't know where the other guys went, but it was clear I was on my own. Soon it was pitch black outside. And as you know, the forest at night can be so dark you can't see the hand in front of your face. And our cabin was primitive, with an outhouse and nothing but a lantern for light. So I sat there, letting my imagination get the best of me, staring at windows with no curtains, expecting to see some monster looking in at me. I was young and saw too many horror pictures. After a while, I decided the best way to remedy my growing fear was to get busy. So I grabbed a broom and started sweeping the place, taking an occasional glance at the forbidding windows to make sure nothing was looking back. See, I would have just put curtains in them. That's just me. Eventually, I swept the pile of dirt into a dustpan and decided to just throw it outside. Opening the only door to the cabin, something directly in front of me let out the loudest, most blood-curdling scream I've ever heard. Fortunately, I was young enough not to drop dead from a heart attack, but I did slam the door shut and race over to the Model 94 Winchester 3030 on the wall. I spent the rest of the time until the guys got back, staring at the door, gun aimed, ready to shoot whatever monster broke in. That's a shitty feeling. I've somewhat been there. I've seen and heard assorted strange things in the forest, including green glowing fungus and wildcats fighting. I never experienced anything like that scream. I assumed at the time, however, it must be an animal. But since the advent of the internet, I've listened to the sounds various animals, such as foxes, raccoons, bobcats, and so forth, make, and none match the loudness, the duration, and the pitch of that scream. Was it a Bigfoot? I have no other explanation. At least I didn't see it. If I had, I probably would have passed out. Thanks for all you do. Feel free to use my name, and if you decide to include this in a video. Thomas Wolke. Wolke. Thomas, you're a free, brave man. And my brother. Our brother. You found your people? You know what it was. You know what it was. Yeah, everybody knows. Well, I don't know about everybody, but I had something slam the side of a freaking small one-bedroom cabin I was in one night by myself with no phone and what's for electricity? I think it was electricity and a wood stove, oil burning stove, and that sucker was shaking from whatever it was hitting that wall above my head. And I was just sitting there on the couch reading a book. And there was a end of the house is a window there, and there's two windows on that wall right there. The door was right there, and I'm on the couch with this wall with no windows on it, and the stove was right behind me here, and on the other side of the wall was pure bush forest, and something hit it so hard it shook the damn thing. And all I did was I just calmly got up, grabbed the rifle. I had an old 303 Lee Enfield British World War II rifle, which at the time had a 10-shot magazine. 9? Was it 9, wasn't it? But you could put 10 in the gun, so 1 in the pipe, 9 in the mag. I just calmly went and got the gun, loaded it. I put it right beside me on the couch, just sat there. What else are you gonna do? I'm not going out there. I wasn't going out there. No way. I didn't sit there with it pointed at the door. I knew whatever it was just watching me outside those black windows. So there's no curtains or anything. I sat there. Nothing else you can do by yourself. Can't phone anybody. Just sit there and take what comes, I guess, right? No, thank you. But the scream? I've had everything but the scream, right? I've had the trees being blasted. I've heard a yell. Wood knocks. Cabin being slapped. I haven't heard the roar. Don't want to. I haven't seen glowing eyes myself either. Will I? Probably. Probably here before anywhere. Now, to show you guys the view, like I almost, honest to God, I almost intentionally don't look up. I should have the curtains closed, but this is my view in the back 40 straight to the forest. Right? Blackened out, no light. Actually, I do have a light up there now. I should probably flick that on. Anyways, that's what I'm facing as I'm reading these creepy frickin' cabin and tent stories, right? And I got shit going on around here. Whatever. Leave me alone. Not into it. Just not into it. And I got my killer dog here, and she's relaxed, so I'm relaxed. Now, listen to this. Puzzle piece I've not heard. Important for hikers' safety. One of Scott Carpenter's YouTube video, he and his friend had EMF electromagnetic field detectors, about $20, which should be 3 or 5 on normal woodland area. When he got the fear attack he had it up to 1800. Dangerous. Also, his fellow hiker 10 feet away didn't have his detectors registered at all. So it was a directed burst. I find interesting is that as soon alarm beeped, the EMF attack stopped instantly. I find this should be known to all in my gut feeling. It also went off when he approached an area. He took a few steps back, then it went off. Then it went back. And it was set off again. Could this be a warning from the missing 411, Sasquatch, Dogman, and maybe portals? I just feel this is important and should be well known and spoken about. Please, good people, God's people, spread the word. I care for these poor people. Dean. And thank you, David, for your valuable time after spending time with you. And Dave, please, just for you, I can't even watch news in the UK. In the UK, you get more views than BBC. But I don't want any trouble from our little village. Just takes an honest, humble man, no matter the subject. Okay, thanks for that, man. Thanks for the kind words, the heads up, the suggestion. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to take you up on that offer of looking into getting one of those things. Am I familiar with one? No. Those scientists in Europe threatened to mail me one. I thought they're going to mail me one of those. I think over importance over the Geiger counter. Is there another word for the radiation detector? Geiger counter, whatever the hell. I guess I could probably Google it up. I will later. I will later. You know, in the back of my mind, I have a handful of bones. A good friend of ours here, longtime watcher. I hope you're still with us, Ken. Left the country to retire, and he left some items with me that he had given to him from his father. He's from British Columbia, very intelligent man. And him and his wife had numerous experiences at their home, not too far from Lillooet, British Columbia. They've seen these beings. They had them in their garden, footprints, plucking the carrots out. He also had a boating accident in the frozen lake behind their house, and something pulled him out of the water, put him on the bank. They saw something reddish covered in fur. His wife seen one way up on the height of land above the lake, basically waved no matter. And every spring, this guy would go bear hunting. And every spring, something, he says these beings, these people, would leave him one specific bone from a black bear, cleaned off, and I mean clean. And they would leave that one bone on a rock for him. Numerous times, I think numerous years. And he saved them all in a bag, and they're all from a bear. And I think he gave me 4 or 5 of them. And all but one are basically within the same range, same size. But one is possibly 3 times thicker. Not 3 times longer, but 3 times. It's just a great big hammer. Beefy chunk of bone is similar to the other ones. It's the same bone from a bear, but way bigger. And they left that on the same rock for him. And he gave me these. And since the mention of the radiation has been coming up a lot, even from the first time mentioned, like I don't even know where they are. They're somewhere around here, but they're not near me. And I should probably, and the knife, even the knife thing, the knife, I don't know where the knife, who put the knife in my backpack, but you never know, right? So maybe I will soon. I'm going to be in the big city fairly soon. Hopefully I remember to grab one or both of those meters. Excuse me, we'll run it by the bone. And maybe I'm curious of the larger bone. I want to know what it's from exactly. And maybe I'll take it down south with me, give it to Melba, and maybe Melba can find out, do the DNA on that sucker, and find out what it's from. That'd be really interesting to me. I mean, let's say it was a, excuse me, or if it was polar bear. Right? You never know. Who knows? What if it turns out to be extinct brown bear and shows up on a rock in British Columbia where other bear bones kept popping up each spring, right? Anyway, there you go. More voices heard. I got a lot I could just talk about because everything's fresh in my mind from Melba and I talking, and I'm going to have to listen to that recording again because I was half asleep for half of it. So tired. But the amount of items shared in there were absolutely crazy and confirmed a lot for me. Confirmed a lot. Excuse me. But I think some of the more important points I will make sure that I let known publicly right up out of the gate, and I'll keep mentioning, is if you have a run-in with a being, any type of being that closely resembles what we've been speaking of, if you have a run-in with a canine-headed being, any kind of a being that's not normal, doesn't seem to be from this planet, whatever, it shouldn't exist, and it's threatening you, and you feel, and I mean threatened, I don't mean scared shitless. Scared shitless and being threatened are 2 different things. If you have something threatening you, looking at you, and making you feel like it wants to kill you and it's about to, you have to engage with it. Make sure you shoot it in the head. Only in the head. All right? If you can knock it down or slow it down with one shot, make sure you save the majority of what you got and keep pumping it in the head to kill it, to eliminate the threat to you or your family. All right? That's the word. That is the word. I don't know why, but that's one thing I pulled from our conversation. It's really sticking in my head. Will I be using that in the future? I don't know. Who knows? But I know one thing. Something's making me want to have the need to tell all you guys that one. So there you go. You have something that you're not familiar with that fits the description of some of the things we're talking about here, and it is absolutely threatening you, and you feel that you're going to have to engage it in some kind of fight for life, shoot it in the head. Okay? Headshots. Keep your shit together and shoot it in the head. It's very important. There you go. Not to make anybody scared or paranoid, I'm just passing on things that I believe are important. And I am so tired. Probably babbling like a 6-year-old kid right now. Adventure puppy. Adventure puppy. What do you think? Time to go in? I'm going to go set my rat trap. Pissing rain. And I mean rained here like you'd not believe it. That's when all of a sudden a few rats will find their way into my shop. Little bastards. I came in here in the evening yesterday to grab something, and there was a rat up on my cot here trying to chew on that fresh deer skull I just got. So I went to the chicken coop and I retrieved 4 traps, and I got 4 rats last night. Double whammy, 2 of them, 1 go. So we grabbed all the cats, threw them here today to see if they clean up anything's in here, and then I made a garbage can. We went to the office supply store and bought some rigid white material board, and I made the old flip internal lid for the garbage can, and I've got a little chunk of canned venison. I'm going to attach this to the top, put a trail camera on it to record my success. I'm going to fill that garbage can up with any one of these greasy bastards that comes into my zone tonight. That's what I'm going to do right now. Yeah, I'll post up the results. Anyway, there you go, you guys. I'll put the link for Melba and my conversation in the description of this video. Again, all right? If you cannot find the join membership button, it's because you have an Apple handheld device you're using. That's why you can't. But there is a way around it. In the video, you can find that instruction on YouTube. Just type in, how do I join a membership on a YouTube channel with my iPhone? And there's videos to take you through it. If you can't do it that way, your laptop or your personal computer at home will pull up the join button on your YouTube account when you open it there, okay? The problem is iPhone or iPad. That's the problem. But there is a way around to do it so you can still use that item. There you go. And you're not paying for the channel. You're not. I still continue to post all of my content for nothing. No charge to you. Just that one video so we can generate revenue for the team over there is going to be in the membership only. That's it. All right? You probably should watch that video. Or at least, should you be able, I think go see the comments in that video. Go, if you can, go look at the comments underneath the video of Melba and I speaking to give you an idea. All right? There's some knowledge in that video. There you go. I'm out of here. I'll be back again.